Last, for today, we will discuss taxation on corporations under CREATE law. Okay, this is also one of the major topics in income taxation. So I need 100% of your attention. Okay? Now, before we go to our lesson, bibigyan ko muna kayo ng konting background and updates about the Philippine taxation system. Now, under our current administration, we have what you call the CTRP, or the Comprehensive Tax Reform Program. So, objective of CTRP is to improve and refine our taxation system. Okay? So, maraming packages under CTRP. And as of today, meron tayong 2 packages. Package number 1 is RA 10963, or the Train Law, which became effective in 2018. And package number 2 is RA 11534, or the CREATE Law. Actually, yung CREATE na yan, class, pinirmahan yan last March 2021 lang. So, fairly recent lang yan. CREATE stands for Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Act. So, may word na recovery. So, ibig sabihin, class, one of the objectives of CREATE is for businesses to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay? Now, aside sa CREATE, meron din tayong Bayanihan Act 1 and 2. So, ganun din yung goal of Bayanihan Act para makarecover yung businesses. Okay? So, class, medyo maraming changes. Pero don't worry, I'll make sure na lahat ng discussion natin will be updated and complete under CREATE Law and Bayanihan Act. Okay? Now, my goal for this session is for you not only to understand, but to master taxation on corporations. Are you ready? Let's start. Taxation on corporations. We have 3 classes of corporations. Number 1 is domestic corporations, or DC. Number 2 is resident foreign corporations, or RFC. And number 3 is non-resident foreign corporations, or NRFC. And sir, bakit important na malaman natin yung classes of corporations? Because dyan magdedepend kung anong income yung magiging taxable in the Philippines. Okay? So, lagay natin dito, class, Philippines. And here is abroad. Ayan. So, ito yung income na na-earn sa Philippines. Ito yung income na na-earn abroad. Okay? Actually, sa tax code natin, ang term na ginagamit dyan is income derived within the Philippines or inside the Philippines. And for abroad, income derived without the Philippines or outside the Philippines. Okay? If domestic corporation ka, yung income na na-earn mo in the Philippines and abroad, taxable yan sa Pilipinas. Okay? If you're a resident foreign corporation, yung income na na-earn mo in the Philippines, taxable in the Philippines. Income na na-earn mo abroad, not taxable in the Philippines. If you're a non-resident foreign corporation, income derived in the Philippines, taxable in the Philippines. Income derived abroad or outside the Philippines is not taxable in the Philippines. Okay? So, take note, class, kapag domestic corporation ka, kahit saan mo na-earn yung income, worldwide, tataksan yan dito sa Pilipinas. Alright? So, kaya very important na ma-distinguish natin yung classes of corporations na yan. Okay? Mag-start tayo with domestic corporations. Sir, ano ba yung domestic corporations na yan? These are corporations created and organized under Philippine laws. So, class, ano ba yung mga Philippine laws na related sa corporations? Meron tayong Corporation Code of the Philippines. What else? So, yung mga corporations na yan, nag-comply sila sa requirements ng Securities and Exchange Commission. And pag listed yan, nag-comply din sa requirements ng Philippine Stock Exchange. Okay? So, these are domestic corporations. For example, BDO, ayan, ano pa? BPI, PLDT, okay, Globe, Jollibee, what else? San Miguel, okay? We have SM, Meralco, etc. So, class, yung mga large corporations na familiar tayo, these are domestic corporations. Got it? So, for example, si Jollibee, ayan. So, si Jollibee, meron siyang stores in the Philippines, meron din siyang stores abroad. So, yung mga stores niya nasa Philippines, yung income nun, tataksan sa Pilipinas. Yung mga stores niya outside, for example, sa US, sa China, sa Middle East, yung income dun, tataksan din dito sa Pilipinas. Gets? Okay. Now, punta naman tayo sa resident foreign corporations. Sir, ano ba yan? These are corporations created and organized under foreign laws. So, kung sa domestic corporation, Philippine laws. Pag resident foreign, foreign laws. Take note, these are engaged in business in the Philippines. Okay? Engaged in business. For example, McDonald's. Ano pa? Coca-Cola. Okay? Toyota. Nestle. HSBC. Etc. These are resident foreign corporations. Right? So for example, si Toyota. Alam natin class, yung head office ni Toyota nasa Japan yan. Tama? Pero maraming branches si Toyota all over the world. Now, yung Toyota Philippines, yung income niyan, tataksan dito sa Pilipinas. Pero yung Toyota, let's say sa Japan, sa US, hindi yan magbabayad ng tax sa Pilipinas. Doon sila magbabayad sa respective countries nila. Gets? Okay. Kung meron tayong resident foreign, we also have non-resident foreign. So, ano difference ng dalawa na yan? Non-resident foreign corporations, these are corporations created and organized under foreign laws. So, same sila, foreign laws. But they are not engaged in business in the Philippines. Yun. So, yun yung main difference. Ito, engaged in business. This one is not engaged in business. Okay? For example, Bank Central Asia. So, class, familiar ba kayo sa Bank Central Asia? Hindi. Okay, bakit? Kasi wala namang branch yan sa Pilipinas. Right? Pero class, actually, yung Bank Central Asia na yan, it's the largest privately owned bank in Indonesia. So, sir, bakit kung wala sa Pilipinas, bakit siya nakakapag-earn ng income sa Philippines? Class, non-resident foreign corporations, tandaan nyo, under-earn yan are passive income. Okay? Passive income, such as interest, ano pa, dividends, rents, etc. Okay, so for example, si Toyota Philippines, okay? Let's say, nag-borrow siya, bank loan, kay Bank Central Asia, foreign loan, right? So, si Bank Central Asia, mag-earn siya ng interest income from Toyota Philippines. Gets ba? So, kaya meron kang income derived within the Philippines, right? Now, para ma-distinguish mo pa yung dalawa na yung class, ito tatandaan mo. Kapag walang branch or office in the Philippines, non-resident foreign corporation yan. Okay? Kapag merong branch or office in the Philippines, resident yan. Okay? Kaya tinawag na resident. Gets? Alright. So, these are the three classes of corporations. Now, yung tatlo na yan, domestic corporation, resident foreign corporation, and non-resident foreign corporation, they have to pay 3 types of income tax. Lagyan natin dito. Types of income tax. Number 1 is the basic income tax. Number 2 is final withholding tax. And number 3 is capital gains tax. Ayan, yung mga babayaran. Now, mag-focus muna tayo sa basic income tax. So, later natin discuss yung final withholding tax and capital gains tax. Basic income tax, we have what you call the regular corporate income tax. So, sa train law, ilang percent class yan? Dati, 30%. Pero under create, ilan na lang yan? 25%. So, pinababa na siya. From 30, naging 25%. Except, tandaan mo to, except if you are a domestic corporation, okay, and your net taxable income, okay, net taxable income does not exceed 5 million, right, and your total assets do not exceed 100 million. Okay? Pagpasok ka sa threshold na yan, if your net taxable income does not exceed 5 million and yung total assets mo do not exceed 100 million, instead of paying 25%, yung magiging tax rate mo na lang is 20%. Alright? Now, take note class, and yun nilagay ko dyan. Ingat ka dyan, ha? Dapat pareho yan, masatisfy mo. Okay? Kaya ako kinapitalize. Huwag mo kakalimutan yan. Sir, bakit gano'n? Kasi class, pag isa lang na meet mo dyan, for example, taxable income mo is 6 million, automatic, 25% ka. Pag yung assets mo nag-exceed ng 100 million, automatic, 25%. Dapat both of them masatisfy mo. Alright? Sir, paano namin maaalala yung threshold na yan? Actually, class, yung 5 million and 100 million na yan, yun yung threshold for MSMEs. Sir, yung MSMEs, these are the micro, small, and medium enterprises. So, yun yung mas maliliit na businesses. Right? So, under create, para makarecover yung mga maliliit na businesses na yan, binabaan yung tax rate para sa kanila. Instead of 25, 20% na lang. Okay? Now, ito pa, ingat ka dito, class. Yung total assets na yan, remember, excluding land value. Okay? Where the office or business is located. Huwag mo isasama yung land value. Okay? For example, may office ka, building. May land yun, tama? Hindi yung sinasama sa computation ng 100 million. Excluding, ha? Okay, so remember that. Mamaya, meron tayong mga exercises, i-apply natin yan. Okay, and also take note, no? Applicable lang yan sa domestic corporations. Walang 20% dito sa resident foreign and non-resident foreign corporations. Got it? Okay, so meron tayong RSIT na 25% or 20%. We have what you call the minimum corporate income tax or MSIT. So class, sa train law, ilang percent yan? 2%, tama? Under create, it's now 1%. Okay? 1% na lang yan. Pero ingat ka, kasi class, yung 1% na yan is only from July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2023. Okay? So, hindi permanent yung 1% na yan. Ito lang yan, 3 years lang. July 1, 2020 up to June 30, 2023. Ngayon, paglagpas niyan, okay, beyond 2023, let's say July 1, 2023, back to 2% ka na. Babalik ka sa 2%. Got it? Okay. So, ingat ka sa mga dates. So, mga problems, lagi mong i-check yung dates na yan. Pagpasok ka sa date na yan, 1% yung MSIT mo. If nagpas ka dyan, 2%. Got it? And yung last one sa basic income tax is the improperly accumulated earnings tax or IAET. Under train law, ilang percent yan, class? 10%. Under create, wala na yan. Okay? X, nilagay ko lang para matandaan mo na wala ng IAET. Actually, yung IAET, medyo challenging isolve yan. So, at least, wala na yan. Okay? Dalawa lang kailangan mong tandaan. Regular corporate income tax and MSIT. Okay. Now, yung final withholding tax and capital gains tax, later natin di-discuss yan. Dahan-dahan yung magiging discussion natin. Pero to give you an idea, yung final withholding tax na yan, yun yung mga passive income, may interest, dividends, prizes and winnings. For example, class, nag-enroll ka sa Pinnacle. Okay? And then nag-number 1 ka sa board exam. Yung cash prize natin for number 1 is 1 million pesos. Okay? 1 million na yun is subject to final withholding tax. Pero don't worry, kami na sasagot ng final withholding tax mo. Alright? Sige. So now, kumpletuhin natin yung table natin ngayon, class. So, yung tax rate or RSIT para sa domestic corporations, it's either 25% or 20%. Tama? Based dito. Now, if you're a resident foreign corporation, parehong 25% yan. Got it? Okay. And important din malaman natin, class, kung ano yung tax base. Sir, ano ibig sabihin ng tax base? Diyan mo i-multiply yung percentages na yan. Okay? If you're a domestic corporation, yung tax base mo is taxable income or net taxable income. If you're a resident foreign corporation, tax base is taxable income. If you are a non-resident foreign corporation, yung tax base mo is gross income. Okay? Babalikan natin yan later. So now, so class, medyo maliit yung handwriting ko ngayon kasi gusto kong hindi na mag-erase, okay, para complete yung masulat ko sa board. Alright? Now, since ito yung tax base nila, it's very important, class, to know kung paano tayo mag-compute ng tax. So remember this. Ito yung format na susundin mo whenever you're computing for income tax on corporations. Dapat, alam mo to by heart. Mag-start with gross income. Okay? Minus your allowable deductions. you get your taxable income or net taxable income or TI. Ayan. So, ito yung TI, ito yung GI. Okay, multiply natin sa tax rate. Let's say our seat natin 25%. You will get your income tax due. Ayan. Income tax due natin, basically, yun yung babayad natin kay BIR. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, class, kapag domestic corporation ka and resident foreign corporation, dito mo i-multiply yung 25% sa taxable income. Okay? If you are a non-resident foreign corporation, yung 25% dito mo i-multiply sa gross income. Alright? Sir, paano natin maalala yan? Bakit, sir, yung non-resident foreign corporation gross income? Ganito yan, class. Naalala nyo, sabi ko, pag non-resident foreign corporation, wala kang office or branch in the Philippines. Okay? Therefore, wala kang expenses in the Philippines or wala kang deductions. Right? Kaya yung basis mo is your gross income. Actually, ang tawag natin dyan is, this is a form of final withholding tax. Got it? Alright. Now, tingnan natin. Actually, yung gross income, class, and allowable deductions, major topics yan in income taxation. So, meron tayong separate discussion for them. Okay? Pero ngayon, for our lesson, ito muna yung kailangan mong tandaan. For gross income, 3 things to remember. Okay? Number 1, if ang binebenta mo is goods or sale of goods, for example, class, si Jollibee ka, ayan, sale of goods yan, tama? Yung gross income is computed as follows. Gross sales, okay, minus sales, returns, allowances, and discounts, and then less cost of sales, you get your gross income. Okay? So, ganyan computation ng gross income. Basically, class, pag sinabi mong gross income, lahat ng income na earn mo. Okay? Yun yung gross income. Pag sale of goods, gross sales, minus sales returns and allowances, minus discounts, less cost of sales, you have gross income. So, yung gross income, class, sa accounting, para siyang gross profit. Tama? Ganyan yung computation ng gross profit, di ba? Now, next, kapag naman ang binebenta mo, class, is services, sale of services. For example, si BDO ka, ayan, banking services. Yung computation naman ng gross income is gross receipts, ayan, minus allowances and discounts if meron, okay, if any, minus cost of services, ayan, you have your gross income. Pag sinabi mong gross receipts, well, lahat ng na-receive mo. Okay? Lahat ng cash receipts. Okay? Lahat ng cash na na-receive mo, you call it gross receipts. So, ganito computation, class, kapag sale of services. Again, 3 points lang kailangan mo tandaan for gross income. Number 3, tanda mo to, very important. Gross income excludes income subject to final withholding tax and capital gains tax. Excludes, okay? So, ibig sabihin, class, kapag na-subject ka na sa final withholding tax and capital gains tax, hindi ka na magiging subject sa basic income tax na 25%. Okay? Because kapag anong nangyari, nag-tax ka na dito, nagbayad ka ulit ng tax dito for the same income, ang tawag natin doon is double taxation. And double taxation is highly discouraged under our law. Right? So, ayan. Yun muna yung kailangan mong tandaan for now, class, sa gross income. Again, may separate discussion tayo dyan. Mahabang discussion yan. Pero yun muna for now. Okay, so now, punta naman tayo sa allowable deductions. Dito natin lagay. Lagay tayong footnote, letter A. Ayan, letter A. Yun yung allowable deductions natin. 2 things to remember sa allowable deductions. Number 1, pwede kang mag-avail ng itemized deductions. Itemized deductions. So, ano yung itemized deductions? So, class, ito yung actual expenses mo. Okay? So, for example, bayad mo sa renta, bayad mo sa salaries or utilities, pwede mo ipan-deduct yun. Okay? Deductible yan. Mababawasan yung babayaran mo na tax. Tawag natin dyan, itemized deductions. Pero take note, class, yung itemized deductions, dapat may supporting documents yan. Alright? So, dapat matago mo yung resibo, yung mga invoices, before you can deduct these itemized deductions. Okay? Number 2, pwede ka rin mag-avail ng tinatawag natin na optional standard deduction or OSD. Okay? Yung OSD, pwede mo siyang isipin class as yun yung estimated expenses natin. Kung ito yung actual, ito yung estimated. And OSD is computed as 40% of gross income. Okay? 40% of gross income. Uy, dalawa na yung gross income natin, sir, Non-resident foreign corporation, 25% of gross income. OSD is 40% of gross income. Okay? So, tandaan mo yun. Now, sir, paano namin malaman ko ano mas maganda dyan? Itemized deductions or OSD? Siyempre, as taxpayer, gusto natin ma-minimize yung tax payments natin. So, kung gagawin mo dyan, compute mo yung itemized, compute mo yung deductions, kung ano mas malaki sa kanila, then yun yung piliin mo. Alright? Pero take note, class, na pag OSD, hindi mo na kailangan ng supporting documents. So, for example, yung mga receipts saka invoices na wala mo, mag-OSD ka na lang. Got it? Okay. Pero also take note na yung pagpili between itemized deductions and optional standard deduction, ginagawa yan sa first quarter. Okay? First quarter pa lang. Kasi class yung mga corporations na yan, nagbabayad sila ng taxes every quarter. So, ibig sabihin, 4 times a year. Alright? So, sa first quarter, pipili ka na kung itemized or OSD. Pag nakapili ka na class, magiging irrevocable na yan for the rest of the year. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng, uy, itemized ako ng first quarter, OSD ako ng second quarter. Tapos, balik ako ng itemized ng third. Hindi pwede yan. Kung ano pipili mo ng first quarter, yun na for the rest of the year. Alright? So, class, ang suggestion ko sa inyo, try nyo mag-download ng mga BIR forms. So, for corporations, it's BIR Form 1702. Actually, recently, si BIR nag-release siya ng updated na e-BIR forms. So, pwede mo siyang i-download. Actually, malaking tulong yan. Kasi makikita mo, uy, ganito pala yung format ng ITR. Okay? Makikita mo saan yung gross income, yung deductions, etc. I-browse mo lang. Di mo kailangan ma-memorize yung mga content nun. And actually, meron tayong separate discussion for that. Tuturo ako kung paano mag-fill out ng BIR forms. Kasi may dumalabas na ganyan sa board exam. Okay? So, complete lahat na ituturo sa inyo. Now, so yun yung mga kailangan mo tandaan for itemized or for allowable deductions. Itemized deductions and optional standard deduction. Okay, so before we go to our exercises, mag-discuss muna tayo ng isa pang concept, yung MSIT. Minimum Corporate Income Tax. So, i-erase ko muna to. Okay. Minimum Corporate Income Tax or MSIT. Okay. 5 things to remember for MSIT. Number 1, MSIT is computed as 1% of gross income. Okay. Uy, tatlo na yung gross income natin, sir. Non-resident foreign corporation, 25% of gross income. OSD, 40% of gross income. And then MSIT is 1% of gross income. Again, ulit-ulitin ko, yung 1% na yan, dito lang yan sa dates na to, 3 years. After that, back to 2% na tayo. Okay? Next, MSIT applies only to domestic corporation and resident foreign corporations. Okay? So, ibig sabihin yung MSIT, hindi siya applicable to non-resident foreign corporation. Bakit, sir? Anong tingin nyo, class? Bakit hindi siya applicable? Because in the first place, yung NRFC, 25% na siya ng gross income. Okay? So, walang sense na maging subject siya sa 1% of gross income. Alright? Ano pa? MSIT is effective beginning, okay, the 4th taxable year, okay, following year of commencement. Okay, ulitin ko Yung MSIT daw, class, is effective beginning 4th taxable year following year of commencement. Ano ibig sabihin niyan, sir? For example, class, nag-incorporate ka 2021, okay? And then nag-register ka sa BIR 2021. Yung first year na magiging subject ka to MSIT is plus 4 yan, okay? Plus 4 ka. So, plus 4, ibig sabihin 2025. Year 2025 ka magiging subject to MSIT. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng effective beginning 4th taxable year following year of commencement. Okay? Para matandaan mo yung class, ganito yan. So yung law recognizes na pag nag-start ka pa lang sa business, syempre, hindi pa masyadong stable yung business mo. Okay? Baba pa yung sales, etc. So, binibigyan tayo ng BIR ng law ng 4 years para maging, well, stable yung business natin. That's the time na doon ka lang magbabayad ng minimum corporate income tax. Okay? So, ingat ka sa mga problems. Kasi minsan, may nakalagay na year, hindi pa pala subject to MSIT, tapos magko-compute ka ng MSIT. Magkakamali ka doon. Next, 5 points, diba? So, nakatatlo na tayo. Number 4 is yung excess MSIT. Excess MSIT. Sir, ano ibig sabihin ng excess MSIT? Whenever yung MSIT mo mas mataas sa RSIT, tawag natin doon excess MSIT, okay, can be carried over for 3 years. Alright? Yung excess MSIT can be carried over for 3 years, okay, and can be credited against, okay, RSIT. Whenever RSIT is greater than MSIT. Okay, syempre nahilo na kayo doon, di ba? So yung excess MSIT daw, whenever yung MSIT mas mataas sa RSIT, pwede mo siyang i-carry over for 3 years. So after 3 years, forfeited na yun, okay? And then credited against RSIT. Okay, syempre mahirap maintindihan for now. Lagyan ko ng asterisk. Babalikan natin to pag nagsasagot na tayo ng exercises. Papakita ko sa inyo paano yan, okay? And then last point to remember for MSIT is computed siya quarterly and annually. Alright, so take note yung corporations nagbabayad siya every quarter and then every year i-consolidate niya, okay, isang for 1 year. Got it? Alright, so gawin natin class, i-apply natin lahat to sa exercises natin. Okay, so tignan natin kung paano natin siya magagamit. So wala tayong space, so ang goal ko sana hindi na ako mag-erase para maka-refer back ako dito, pero kailangan natin mag-erase. Okay. So, okay lang erase ko to. So, make sure na copy nyo, ha. Dito na lang ako mag-erase. Ayan. Okay. Sige. So, I think kaya na yan. Now, ito class yung tuturo kong framework sa inyo whenever magsasagot ka ng corporations. Okay? 3-step framework. Number 1, tignan mo muna kung ano yung classification ng corporations, okay? If it's domestic corp, resident foreign corp, or NRFC. Kasi pag nalaman mo na kung ano yung classification of corporations, alam mo na kung siyang tataksan sa Philippines or abroad, or abroad, okay? Alam mo na rin kung anong rate yung gagamitin mo. Pag domestic corp, it's either 25 or 20. Pag resident and non-resident, 25. Alam mo na rin kung anong tax base yung gagamitin mo. Yun yung first step. Number 2, okay? Second step is computing mo class yung total assets and yung taxable income. Net taxable income. Bakit, sir? Siyempre, applicable lang yan sa domestic corp. Pag na-compute mo yung total assets and net taxable income, malalaman mo if ang gagamitin mo is 25% or 20%. Got it? And then last step, huwag mo kalimutan na mag-compute ng minimum corporate income tax. Yan yung madalas makalimutan ng students. Bakit? Kasi hindi naman sinasabi sa problem na mag-compute ka ng MSIT. Implied na yun na kailangan mo mag-compute ng MSIT. Got it? Alright, so tanda mo yung 3-step framework natin na yan whenever magsasagot ka ng corporations. Sige, apply natin lahat yan dun sa exercises natin. Get your exercises, class. Kuhanin kayo ng calculus, so compute with me. Ayan, let's go to problem number 1. So whenever you're answering problems, syempre tingin ka muna sa requirements. Okay, requirement. Compute for the income tax due under the following scenarios. We have 5 scenarios. Scenario 1, domestic corporation. Number 2, resident foreign corporation. Number 3, non-resident foreign corporation. Number 4, domestic corporation with total assets of 90 million. And number 5, domestic corporation availing the optional standard deduction. Okay. So, SBF Corporation. Alam nyo ba yung SBF Corporation? Sir Brad Pitt Corporation. Yan. Mag-subscribe kayo dyan, ha? Malapit na magkaroon ng bagong videos yan. Actually, class, yung mga lecturers sa Pinnacle, required mag-workout yan. Okay? So, pagtapos sila mag-shoot ng videos, for example, si Sir Lester, tapos mag-shoot ng MAS niyan, bawal mo na umuwi. Magbubuhat mo na yan for 1 hour. Okay? So, pag hindi nagbuhat, okay lang. Pinabawasan ko lang yung sweldo. Joke lang. Okay. So, SBF Corporation reported the following information in 2021. Total assets, excluding land, 150 million. Ano agad yung unang may isip dyan? Ito yun. So sabi dyan, excluding land, 150, pasok ka pa ba sa threshold na to? Hindi na. Automatic, gagamitin natin rate is 25%. So write it down. 25% gagamitin natin dyan. We have gross sales for Philippines and in Japan. Okay? Sales returns and allowances, sales discount, cost of sales, and deductible expenses or allowable deductions. So, tignan natin class. Compute na natin yung gross income and taxable income sa Philippines and sa Japan. Okay, so lagyan natin dito, Philippines, okay, Japan, and total. Lagyan tayo ng total. Alright, so compute natin class yung gross income and taxable income or net taxable income. Sige, paano ulit computein yung gross income? Ito. Na-erase ko na pala. Pero basically, gross sales minus sales returns and allowances minus sales discounts minus cost of sales. So sige, compute with me. So doon mo tayo sa Philippines, 6 million minus 200,000 minus 100,000 minus 2 million, you get 3.7 million. Nakuha niyo yan? Okay, sulat natin dito, 3.7 million is our gross income in the Philippines. Japan naman tayo, 4 million minus 150,000 minus 80 minus 1.5 million. Okay, so I got 270,000. Okay, 270,000 gross income in Japan. Add natin yan para makuha natin yung total gross income. 270,000 plus 3.7 million, 5,970,000 is our total gross income. Okay, are you following? Okay, now compute naman natin yung taxable income. Sa Philippines, kung may gross income na tayo na 3.7 million, i-minus lang natin yung deductible expenses, you have 2.7 million. Okay, 2.7 million. And then sa Japan, if meron kang 270,000 na gross income, we deduct the expenses, 500,000, 270,000. Tama? So, ulitin natin. 270,000 minus, or 270,000 minus 500,000, you get 1,770,000. Our taxable income in Japan. Okay? Add natin yung dalawa, plus 2.7 million, you get 4,470,000 total taxable income. Okay. Sige, so let's go to scenario number 1. Scenario number 1 nating class is, what if daw domestic corporation? Kapag domestic corporation, we know, taxable siya sa income niya in the Philippines and income niya abroad. Ano gagamitin nating rate? 25 or 20%? Since hindi siya pumasok sa threshold, we use 25%. So, ang gagamitin natin is taxable income na total. Okay? So, Philippines and Japan, lagay natin here. Taxable income na total is 4,470,000. Multiply natin by a tax rate of 25%. Okay? 4,470,000 times 25%. Did you get 1,117,500? That is our regular corporate income tax. 1,117,500. Huwag mong kalimutan yung step number 3 natin. Lagi kang magko-compute ng MSIT. Okay? Minimum corporate income tax is ilang percent? 1% of gross income. Ano yung gross income na gagamitin natin? Ito. Total gross income. Okay? Because domestic corporation siya. Global or worldwide na income, taxable yan. 5,970,000 times 1%, that is 59,700. 59.7. So, class, ano babayaran mo dyan? RSIT or MSIT? Okay? Kaya tinawag na minimum. Okay? Hindi bababa dyan yung babayaran mo. Therefore, pipiliin mo lagi RSIT or MSIT, whichever is higher. Alright? So, in this case, babayad natin kay BIR, 1,117,500. That is our income tax due or yan, RSIT. Gets? Okay. So, erase tayong content dito. Ayan. So yeah, let's go to scenario number 2. Scenario number 2 is, what if class resident foreign corporation? Pag resident foreign corporation, taxable lang yung income niya sa Philippines. Tax base natin is taxable income. Therefore, ang gagamitin mo dyan is 2.7 million. Got it? Scenario number 2, resident foreign corporation. Okay, taxable income in the Philippines, how much? 2.7 million. Ano yung tax rate na gagamitin natin? Always 25%. 2.7 million times 25%. Okay, 2.7 times 25%, you get 67 ulit. So 2.7 million times 0.25, 675,000. Our regular corporate income tax is 675,000. Kailangan mo ba mag-compute ng MSIT kapag RFC ka? Answer is yes. Sabi ko dito, MSIT applies to domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation. Ano yung basis? Gross income. Ano pipiliin mo dito? Ito. Gross income sa Philippines. Kasi taxable lang siya within the Philippines. Okay, so 3.7 million times 1%, you get 37,000. MSIT for scenario number 2 is 37,000. Therefore, pipiliin natin whichever is higher. Obviously, ang higher dito is RSIT of 675,000. That's our answer for scenario number 2. Okay? Sige. So, class, dito na lang mag-i-erase para at least ma-retain natin yan. Alright, so let's go to scenario number 3. Make sure nakapin niyo yung solution natin. Scenario number 3, what if naman class, NRFC. Kapag NRFC, okay, taxable within the Philippines, tax rate natin is 25%, pero final withholding tax siya. Ang tax base natin is gross income. So ano pipiliin natin dyan? So piliin mo yung gross income, okay, in the Philippines, 3.7 million. Right, 3.7 million. Multiply natin by the tax rate, always 25%. 3.7 million times 25%, you get, okay, 925,000. Final withholding tax. RSIT or the final withholding tax, 925,000. Kailangan mo ba mag-compute ng MSIT for non-resident foreign corporation? Answer is, no need. Kasi nakalagay dyan, applies only to domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation. Okay, scenario number 4. What if domestic corporation with total assets of 90 million? Uy, 90 million. So, ibig sabihin, pasok siya sa threshold dito. Hindi siya sumobra ng 100, pero i-check mo din itong net taxable income. Okay? How much yung net taxable income dito sa problem? Na total, ito, 4,470,000. So, 4,470,000 net taxable income, total assets natin 90 million. Can we use the 20% tax rate? Answer is yes. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, for number 4, 20% yung gagamitin natin. Domestic corporation, ibig sabihin, class, total taxable income. Okay? Taxable income na total is 4,470,000. Multiply natin by 20%. Tingnan natin, 4,470 times 20%, you have 894,000. This is your RSIT. Siyempre, compute natin yung MSIT. Doon na-compute na natin yung MSIT sa problem number 1. MSIT natin dito is 59,700. Siyempre, we choose whichever is higher. Answer natin sa scenario number 4, 894,000 RSIT. Got it? Okay, last scenario. Scenario number 5. Tingnan natin. Domestic corporation availing the optional standard deduction. Uy, na-erase ko na yung OSD. Ano nga ba yung computation ng OSD class? 40% of gross income. Okay? Scenario number 5, since domestic corporation siya, taxable siya worldwide. So, ang gagamitin natin is taxable income or gross income na 5,970,000. So, gross income na total, 5,970,000. Less natin yung allowable deductions, in this case, yung OSD natin, minus the optional standard deduction, 5,970,000 times 40%, you get 2,388,000. Okay? Sir, paano mo ulit nakuha yan? 5,970,000 times 40%, yun yung OSD natin. Right? Difference nila is 3,582,000. This is your taxable income. Right? Taxable income, multiply natin by 25% RSIT. Okay, times 0.25. You get 895,500. 895,500. This is our RSIT. Ayan. Siyempre, compare mo yan sa MSIT. Obviously, MSIT natin is only 59,700. Answer for scenario number 5 is RSIT 895,500. Okay. So, ayan. That's how you do problem number 1. Let's go to problem number 2. Problem number 2, and maganda rin yung problem na yan because we're given 4 years. Okay? So let's take a look at the requirement. Compute for the income tax payable for years 2021, 2022, 23, and 24. Alright? Now, basahin natin yung given. SBF Corporation, a corporation organized in 2017 under Philippine laws, reported the following information. Pag sinabi mo class na organized under Philippine laws, ano una mo maiisip dapat? Domestic corporation. So hindi explicit na sinabi na domestic corporation siya, but since organized siya under Philippine laws, domestic corporation yan. Got it? Okay. So 2017 daw siya na-organize. So ito class, tandaan mo to. Pag usually sinasabi kung kailan na-organize, kung kailan nag-register sa BIR, clue na yon na kailangan mong tingnan kung subject ka sa MSIT or hindi. Alright? So ano yung rule natin? 2017 siya na-organize, tama? Sabi ko dito, plus 4 tayo. 2017 plus 4, 2021, start na siya maging subject to MSIT. Got it? So sulat mo yan, 2021, subject to MSIT. Okay, so we have 4 years. Total assets including land. So take note, including yung nakalagay, not excluding. We have land value. So alam natin, kailangan natin tanggalin yung land. Nakalagay dyan, excluding land. Gross income and allowable deductions. Okay, so ang gawin natin dito class, first natin gagawin is we have to compute for total assets, excluding land. Tama? So lagay natin here, 2021. Okay, 2022. 23. And 2024. Okay. So, lagay natin dito, total assets, excluding land. Ayan, excluding land. Sige, let's compute. 110 million minus natin yung land value, that is 90 million. Okay, 90 million. 2022, 120 million minus 20 million is 100 million. 2023, 140 million minus 25 million is 115 million. And then 2024, 120 minus 25 million is 95 million. Okay. Sir, bakit natin kino-compute yung land value excluding or total assets excluding land value? Titingnan natin kung papasok siya sa threshold. Got it? Okay. So, okay na yung land, yung total assets natin. Punta tayo sa net taxable income. So, taxable income is just your gross income less your allowable deductions. Makakompute na natin yan. For 2021, 8 million minus 3.5, 4.5 million. Write it down. So, 4.5 million taxable income natin in 2021. 2022, 10 million minus 4.5, 5.5 million. Okay. 2023, 7 million minus 7,250. Uy, net loss 2023, 250,000. Okay, net loss. And then we have 10.5 million minus 9 million, 1.5 million in 2024 net taxable income. Alright. So, meron tayong total assets excluding land. We have taxable income. Tingnan natin yung papasok sa threshold natin. 2021, 90 million and 4.5. Yes. So, we use 20% here. It's our RSIT. Okay. 2022, 100 million is 5.5. Tanda mo, both must be satisfied. Okay. Sumobra ng 5 million. Therefore, automatic 25%. 2023, yung assets natin sumobra ng 100 million, therefore, subject to 25%. 2024, 95 million and 1.5, yes, 20%. Yun. Okay? So, yun muna yung first step natin. Ano yung nasa framework natin? Tignan natin kung ano yung classification, domestic corporation. Okay? Ano yung second step natin sa framework? Alamin mo yung total assets excluding land and taxable income to know kung ano yung tax rate na gagamitin natin. Ano yung next step? Huwag mo kalimutan mag-compute ng minimum corporate income tax. Okay. So, lagay natin dito class, RSIT, and then, lagay natin dito yan, RSIT, this is MSIT. Okay. So, yeah, let's compute the RSIT. 20% of 4.5 million, 4.5 times 0.2. Okay. 900,000. And then, maglagay ka class dito ng excess MSIT. I-apply natin yung naka-asterisk kanina. Explain ko sa inyo later kung paano yan. Okay. Now, magko-compute ka na ba ng MSIT noong 2021? Answer is yes. Kasi ang computation natin, 2017 ka na-organize, plus 4, 2021, subject to MSIT ka na. Okay, so ingat ka. Baka nakalagay dyan 2020, hindi ka pa magko-compute ng MSIT doon. Magkakamali ka doon. Alright? So, paano computein yung MSIT? It's 1% of gross income. Ano yung gross income in 2021? 8 million times 1% is 80,000. Obviously, pipiliin natin whichever is higher. Answer natin sa 2021 is 900,000. Class, meron ka bang excess MSIT in 2021? Answer is wala. Sabi ko dito, yung excess MSIT is whenever MSIT exceeds your RSIT. Mas mataas ba yung MSIT dito? Hindi. So, wala kang excess MSIT noong 2021. Let's go to 2022. Let's compute the RSIT. 25% of 5.5 million, you get 1,375,000. Okay? 1,375,000. And then, MSIT natin in 2022, gross income is 10 million times 1%, 100,000. Okay? Answer natin in 2022 is 1,375,000. Do you have an excess MSIT in 2022? Answer, wala. Because mas mataas yung RSIT than your MSIT. Okay? Next, 2023. Since net loss ka dito, 250,000, zero yung RSIT mo. Alright? And since 2023 na yan, ano yung MSIT na gagamitin mo, class? Anong rate? You use, sabi ni sir, pag nasa dates ka na yan, 1%. Pag beyond that, 2%. Babalik sa 2%. Alanganin niya, no? Kasi June 30, 2023. Okay? Ito buong 2023. So, ibig sabihin, class, yung MSIT natin, okay, i-breakdown natin into 2. Sa 2023, yung gross income natin sa problem is how much? 7 million. Tama? So, ibig sabihin, class, yung 3.5 million, multiply natin by 1%. Iyan yung hanggang June 30. Okay? So, 3.5 million, multiply natin by 1%. Okay? Yun yung, that's 35,000. Right? And then, yung next half of 2023, subject to 2% na yun. 3.5 million times 2%, that is 70,000. 35 plus 70,000, total MSIT natin, class, for 2023 is 105,000. We choose whichever is higher. Obviously, 105,000 versus 0, we choose 105,000. For 2023, meron ka bang excess MSIT? Answer is yes, because your MSIT is higher than your RSIT. Excess MSIT mo here is 105,000. Got it? Okay. 105,000. Okay. Last year na. Last year is 2024. Computin natin, class, yung RSIT. 1.5 million times 20%. You have 300,000. Alright? 300,000. And then, yung MSIT natin, back to 2% na tayo for the whole year. 2024, 10.5 million yung gross income natin times 2%, 210,000. Lagyan natin dito, 210,000. Okay, so 300,000 versus 210,000, obviously, higher dyan is 300,000. Take note, class, meron tayong 250,000 na net loss last year. Ang tawag natin dyan is net operating loss carryover. Okay? Yung details niyan, di-discuss natin sa discussion natin about allowable deductions. Pero under Bayanihan Act, carried over yan for 5 years. Okay? Now, assume natin na yung 250 nandun na yan sa allowable deductions na given sa atin sa problem. Now, whichever is higher, therefore 300,000. Pero sabi ko dito, yung excess MSIT, kailan tayo may excess MSIT? Ito, 105,000. Pwede mo siyang i-carry over for 3 years. Kung 2023 ka nagkaroon ng MSIT, pwede mo siyang i-carry over to 24, 2025, 2026. Got it? Credited against RSIT whenever RSIT is greater than MSIT. So 2024, RSIT mo mas mataas sa MSIT. Tama? Ibig sabihin, pag credited against, pwede mong i-minus. Yung 105,000, ma-minus natin sa 300,000. Okay? Therefore, yung babayaran mo lang kay BIR is 195,000. Answer natin sa 2024, 195,000. Got it? Okay. So, yan. That's problem number 2. Now, before we move on to problem number 3, mag-discuss muna tayo ng other concepts. So, let's discuss final withholding tax, capital gains tax, ano pa? Special corporations and exempt corporations. Yeah.